He is polite. He listens. He shows up on time. He remembers details, asks how her day was, offers help without being asked. From his point of view, he is doing everything right. From her point of view, something feels off. She cannot name it at first, only that being around him feels heavy. There is no obvious red flag, no single moment of disrespect. Just a quiet sense of pressure she cannot explain. This is where the confusion begins. The man tells himself he is being kind. The woman feels she is being managed. What looks like generosity on the surface often carries an unspoken expectation underneath it. He does not say it out loud, sometimes he is not even aware of it himself, but the subtext is there. If I do this for you, you should want me. If I am good enough, patient enough, agreeable enough, affection will eventually be owed. This is not genuine kindness. It is a transaction disguised as virtue. The problem is not that he is nice. The problem is that his niceness is strategic. It is calibrated to produce a result. And people are remarkably sensitive to that, even when they cannot articulate it. When kindness is used as leverage, it stops feeling safe. It starts feeling invasive. Women do not despise kindness. They despise dishonesty. They despise the quiet manipulation of someone who refuses to be clear about what they want and then resents them for not delivering it. The so-called nice guy often avoids directness because he fears rejection. Instead of risking a clean no, he chooses a slow build of favors, emotional labor, and patience, hoping desire will grow out of obligation. What makes this dynamic uncomfortable is the lack of consent at the emotional level. She did not agree to be part of a contract she never saw. Yet she can feel it forming around her. The attention is constant. The availability is endless. The boundaries are loose. There is no space to breathe, no room to want. Attraction needs space. Neediness collapses it. Underneath the nice guy persona is often unexpressed anger. It does not show up immediately. It leaks out in sarcasm, passive aggression, guilt, or sudden withdrawal when expectations are not met. The kindness was never unconditional. It was delayed resentment waiting for a trigger. This is the core misunderstanding. The nice guy believes he is being rejected for being good. In reality, he is being avoided because he is not being honest. Not with her, and not with himself. What repels is not softness or empathy, but the absence of backbone. The inability to say what he wants, tolerate the risk of hearing no, and stand on his own regardless of the outcome. When people say nice guy, they rarely mean someone who is genuinely kind. They mean someone who is agreeable at all costs, someone whose behavior is dictated by fear of rejection rather than authentic values. The label is shorthand for a pattern, over-accommodation, avoidance of conflict, and emotional dependence disguised as virtue. The problem is not niceness itself, it is the absence of self-respect beneath it. Genuine kindness is free. It does not tally favors or demand gratitude. It does not shrink or defer in anticipation of rejection. It can be given without expectation of return because it comes from a secure sense of self. The so-called nice guy, by contrast, often keeps an internal ledger. Each compliment, each act of service, each moment of attention is an investment he hopes will yield affection, acknowledgement, or compliance. When the investment is not repaid, resentment forms, often unconsciously. This pattern creates subtle tension. Women are rarely aware of the ledger, but they can sense the underlying pressure. The attention that is meant to be flattering feels calculated. The patience that is meant to be endearing feels engineered. Even when words are gentle, the energy behind them carries a quiet expectation: you should feel obligated to respond in kind. Attraction rarely grows under obligation. Another factor is clarity. Nice guys often struggle with expressing desires directly. Fear of rejection leads them to hint, imply, or hope that their actions will communicate what they cannot say. But emotional inference is unreliable. What was intended as a thoughtful gesture can be interpreted as overbearing, manipulative, or suffocating. When communication is indirect, resentment and confusion are inevitable. Polarity also plays a psychological role. Human attraction often responds to contrast. Confidence, presence, and self-assuredness draw attention. Excessive agreeableness can flatten that contrast, making interactions feel flat or predictable. It is not that women cannot appreciate kindness, but that emotional tension and dynamic energy are often necessary components of desire. When every interaction is predictable and accommodating, it can feel safe but unexciting. The nice guy often mistakes tolerance for appeal. Avoiding conflict at all costs, agreeing to everything, and prioritizing comfort over honesty creates a paradox. He wants to be desired for being good, but what he presents is someone who does not take risks, express opinions, or assert independence. Human attraction is rarely built on safe predictability. Over time, the patterns that define the so-called nice guy begin to accumulate into something noticeable, even if subtle. Small frustrations, passive signals, and unspoken expectations start to add weight. He believes that by always being agreeable, by always accommodating, he is proving his value. In reality, he is building a silent contract that no one signed. The more he invests without reciprocity, the more resentment quietly grows beneath the surface. This is the point where attraction often falters. Women are sensitive to unspoken tension and emotional undercurrents. They can sense when kindness is transactional, when deference hides insecurity, when patience masks frustration. What was intended as reliability begins to feel like obligation. The attention that once felt flattering starts to feel burdensome, even stifling. This is rarely conscious, it is a perception formed from subtle energy and repeated interaction patterns. Projection plays a role too. The nice guy's own insecurities project onto the other person. He interprets neutral or even polite behavior as rejection or judgment. His mind begins to narrate her actions through a lens of inadequacy. If she does not respond with enthusiasm, it must mean she does not care. If she expresses independence, it is interpreted as disinterest. These internal narratives are invisible to everyone else but shape his behavior dramatically, often leading to clinginess, over-explaining, or subtle guilt-tripping. Indirect communication compounds the problem. Instead of stating desires or boundaries, he leaves them implied, hoping they will be understood intuitively. When she does not meet these unstated expectations, he experiences disappointment or resentment. Over time, she may feel suffocated or manipulated without ever being able to name the cause, because the tension exists below the level of explicit words. This invisible strain is what turns harmless niceness into an emotional repellent. Finally, the nice guy's avoidance of conflict backfires. By refusing to assert himself, he denies the other person the opportunity to see him fully. Authenticity, including disagreement or expression of opinion, is attractive because it signals autonomy and self-respect. Without it, he presents a flattened version of himself, a version that cannot generate curiosity, tension, or desire. He is safe, predictable, and ultimately, uninteresting. Attraction rarely responds to niceness alone. It responds to presence, self-respect, and polarity, the subtle tension between confidence and receptivity. The nice guy often lacks these qualities because his energy is invested in approval, not authenticity. He prioritizes her comfort over his own expression, and in doing so, he flattens the dynamic that fuels desire. Being agreeable at all costs may make him safe, but it rarely makes him magnetic. Backbone is central to this dynamic. A man who can state what he wants, tolerate rejection, and act independently without collapsing into neediness communicates strength without aggression. He does not apologize for having desires. He does not beg for attention or reassurance. His presence signals stability. Women do not despise kindness, they respond to honesty paired with strength. The nice guy often confuses being liked with being respected, failing to understand that the two are not the same. Self-respect changes everything. When someone values their own time, boundaries, and emotional state, their actions stop being covert contracts. Acts of kindness are no longer attempts to earn approval, they are expressions of character. The energy shifts from quiet desperation to deliberate generosity. This is the distinction between being a nice guy and being genuinely kind. One seeks validation, the other acts from integrity. Polarity also requires emotional independence. Attraction thrives when people bring full, self-contained energy into interactions rather than seeking to fill emotional gaps. The nice guy often centers the woman's reactions, mood, or approval as the measure of his own value. This creates subtle pressure, even guilt, that erodes desire over time. Emotional independence allows kindness to exist without attachment to outcome, removing the hidden obligation that repels. Growth for the nice guy is about more than learning to flirt or project confidence. It is about developing clarity, knowing what you want, tolerating discomfort, expressing yourself honestly, and investing in self-respect. The shift is internal, not performative. Once he stops seeking validation through accommodation and begins living in alignment with his own standards, his niceness transforms from a liability into a genuine, attractive strength.